Hello, everybody. What's up? I'm Alana. I am with my buddies, Khalif and Greg. How you guys doing?
Great.
I am awesome. I'm doing well.
Great. That's great news. For anyone
How
who
are
doesn't
you?
know, this is I'm also good. Thank you. Congrats. And,
Still on the other side of the world.
Yep, and very concerned that somebody is going to spoil the EA conference in the chat. Please don't do that. My internet was screwing up. Just please. This is the show is presence of mind. I need the presence of mind that my mods will take care of this, and nobody will spoil the EA conference to me, and I will catch up on it. And that's actually what we're talking about today. Today is C9's inaugural Moderator Appreciation Day. They are super important. I mean, to ask you, Greg, for the giant community that you built and all the different kinds of content that you make, how do you approach mods?
Man, I mean, they always approach us, which is always the most powerful thing for Kind of Funny, is that the moderators in our channel are all Kind of Funny best friends, which is what we call our audience and our fans, who have stepped up and wanted to take on more. And, whether it be somebody who I think of more recently, like Nanobiologist, or I think back to the early days of Zyger and Amy Gills, right? Like, we've had a great crew from the very beginning that are there and believe in our mission and are there to help, obviously, welcome other best friends while we make the content they're watching.
How about you, Carl?
We do it like the NBA lottery. We get a whole bunch of ping pong balls and then we put it in a hopper.
That's much cooler.
And then if you lost the last season, you had the worst record as a mod, then you get the most ping pong balls, and then we figure it out that way. But most of it is
system.
Yeah, it's flawless. It
just
works
works
all the time. It just works. I mean, we have a great community. We have a lot of fun folks who ask if they can help, especially because when you have front page status, sometimes you have a lot of influx of people coming in, so sometimes you need more help. And a lot of people over the years have just been like, "Can we help?" So that's been the way we kind of snag folks for that.
I've never been front page on Twitch. I imagine it's an absolute nightmare.
How has that not happened?
You're Alana Pierce. How is that possible? That doesn't make any sense.
Not even one time. I don't even know how people do it.
I got people. I'll hit you into it.
But again, do I want that for myself? Mods can take care of it. It's fine.
If you do, I will be a mod in your channel for you.
Thank you. I made my sister a mod. I don't know if she knows how to use the tools yet. We'll have to get her up to speed real quick. But we do also have a wonderful set of guests today. Joining us are Keeoh, who you guys might know as a US-based Valorant player and Cloud9 streamer. Ranked #1 Pharah player for a while, who's my girl, my favorite, and I'm in awe of that. And also Jenna. Would you guys like to introduce who's just had something fall over? Everything okay?
Okay, this is your introduction.
That was my phone. It's fine. It's fine.
No, that is okay. That does seem fine. Jenna, why are you here? What are you about?
I think it's something called Mod Appreciation Day.
It is. We have a mod. I would really like to ask you, Jenna, how difficult is it making sure that, while the content creator, your content creator being Keeoh is streaming, how do you make sure that you're keeping everything in line, you're cohesive with the brand? How do you do it?
It is a lot. I found him when he was kind of like rising up, so it wasn't that bad. I think I caught him at 30 viewers at some point, for a couple days, and then he just kind of skyrocketed. So then I kind of stayed around then, and then I got mod because I modded for other people, and then helping out with the other mods. It was, if they weren't there, it probably is impossible. But it's usually like the typical, like, oh, the spammers, okay, time them out. Or there's the, I don't know, people who just say sexist or racist things, just ban, like simple things like that. It's just, you don't take a second to think about what to do. But it's not that bad since I'm used to it now. It's been a couple months, so
going strong. Is it great?
Yeah.
I hate hearing that though. You're like, I'm kind of used to the sexism and the racism. It's fine now. I would love to hear that.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I don't see it as much because we have all these mods to take care of it. So it's just like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. How important is it to you, especially if you're playing competitive games much better than I ever have in my life? Like, can you get distracted if the mods aren't on top of their game too?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are times where we have I'll be streaming in the middle of the night because I'm just a degenerate gamer and we'll be up at 4 a.m. and
Hell yeah.
my mods have lives, so they need to sleep.
Real gamer hours.
But It's incredibly helpful because there's so many instances of things that'll happen in chat that will just go by if we don't have a mod, and that's like really shouldn't be the case ever. So it's super important for me and to maintain this amazing positive community that we built up here. And I couldn't be more grateful for all the mods that are pitching in here and there. It's awesome.
They do good work. They do good work. Before we get into any further questions, which I'm sure Car and Greg have too, I did just want to mention, if you're not familiar with the stream series, basically this is a show that we do every second week called Presence of Mind, where we talk about mental health in video games. It is a partnership between Kaiser Permanente and Cloud9, and we do always encourage people to visit the website that Kaiser Permanente has put together, which is findyourwords.org. It is a wonderful resource for anyone who needs any kind of assistance with their mental health, but especially focused on people who might be going through depression. Make sure you use the resources available to you. We are here to talk. You can ask us questions. We are here to answer these things and try to be open and honest about talking about mental health and encourage you to do so in the real world and online as well, if that's where you feel like you guys need help. So, anyone have any questions for our two lovely guests? Greg Miller, go ahead.
Jenna, my question for you is, you talked a little bit about how you became Keeoh's mod. What motivated you to want to be a mod in general, not just for that channel? Because I find that's the most fascinating thing. So many people come to Twitch and, watch content and consume content and have their favorite creators, but taking on the unpaid internship that is being a moderator, right? Like, what motivates you to do that?
I was in another stream. It's one of Devin's friends. I'm Devin. No, Devin's friends. Keeoh's friends. I'm sorry. One of Keeoh's friends. I'm Devin. He was the first person that I found, and he had mod applications. So I was like, why not? He's gonna grow really fast. He needs someone to help him out with chat, and I never done it before. And I was like, might as well give it a shot. So I come back to his stream, and I'm a mod, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to do things. And I didn't really get a rundown at all. Like, I just saw these tools and I'm like, okay, I use these tools, for the chat. And the main motivation of being a mod would be just giving back. The streamer's there to give you content, and there's those pesky little viewers that try to be funny and do, the spamming and whatever. And then I'm here to regulate that, or make chat a safe place to be in and have everyone, welcome and comfortable. I also really like the authoritative position, but
I also get high on the power.
The green sword is too much.
I love it. Keeoh, I'm curious to hear your thoughts about what this looks like from your angle. I know the bigger that you wind up getting, the more folks you wind up having in your chat and in your channel. When you're starting off really small, the way you moderate your channel is going to be very, very different from when you're small to when you're really growing, getting a lot of people in your chat. How has the conversation between you two changed over that time frame of like, I want to moderate this way? How's the kind of conversation between like how you want your chat to be moderated have gone?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has changed over the course of the last year or so. And I'd say mainly just because of how many people are in chat. And not that you shouldn't be banning people that are trolls in a lower viewer stream, but at the same time, you kind of value that viewer more because it's like, okay, I want to be a positive influence. And I've tried to really, really hard to cultivate a community that's welcoming and open and accepting to everyone. And even if you make a mistake, hey, it's all right. We all make mistakes. That's part of life. And with that, it's kind of funny. We've kind of gone from a little bit of okay, we're a little more lenient on the modding to just be like, all right, well, if they said one thing bad, just ban them. And if they request something, if they do an unban request, we'll get them back in here. But let's just drop the hammer if they need to, if they say anything bad. And that probably wouldn't have been the approach we took it at a lower viewer, because you'd be like, okay, time them out, give them some time to cool down. And at this point, it's just all right, well, we can't tell if you're going to come back and do that or not. So let's just figure it out later.
Do you do the unban request streams? I know people do
No,
those.
actually, I mean, I've thought about it, but all of my mods are kind of just on top of it. So they just go through the unban requests all the time. And some of them are funny. We should just leave the funny ones there and just go have a stream for it, That'd be fun.
Jenna, I wanted to ask you, what do you think are probably the unexpected difficult things about being a mod on Twitch? What are the things that are really hard that you don't think we would be able to guess?
It's like a small thing, but usually when it's just you, like when you're a mod, you become friends with the other mods, and so when you're in chat, you get to like banter and talk to each other. But if it's just you, you're just kind of sitting there, like, yeah, delete, timeout, like, like there's no one to like talk to. But I mean, there's talking to the viewers, but some of them just like the like exclamation point crosshair or sense, like you can't have conversations with that. But there's little things like that. I guess a little like kind of extended answer to this would be I moderate for multiple people at once, so I'm kind of just like tabbing.
Oh,
I'll
wow.
tab other one, go back, ban this person, get back, like stuff like that. But I
That's
manage it.
intense.
Mhm.
Wow,
So
that is wild.
yeah, that's mental. I've always often go there, right? And so as we talk about that, and we talk about obviously the fact that you're the filter, right, between negativity, or not negativity, but the people who are going to go too far, who are going to be trolls, right? How do you take care of your own mental health? How do you was that a learning process for you of not taking it personal when someone's screaming at you in whispers, I would assume? And then like, what do you do on a daily basis to kind of, push away from that, to have your moment to center yourself?
It took 4 or 5 months for me to figure out how to help myself.
Sure, yeah.
So when I was like moderating all these people, it was during school. So I didn't. It's bad, guys. Don't do this. I wasn't doing my schoolwork. I'm gonna say it. I wasn't doing my schoolwork
Jenna.
until like 10 minutes before it was due.
Dare you?
Keeoh, you affected me the most. Your chat.
I
just
dropped out of college,
but-
so I
oh,
just
okay. I don't think I'll follow that, but yeah, I didn't focus on my own life, and I would just help other people. Like if they need me, like I don't want to be like boasting about myself, but I'm selfless and I don't really focus on myself that much, which I kind of should.
Sure.
But I just helped a lot of people and I didn't really focus on myself, and that really took a toll on me. So I kind of started backing away from being there like 24/7, because that used to happen. Like with Keeoh, he's 2 hours behind me. So I would stay up until 4 a.m. and I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. I need to like,
which
not
no one should.
Yeah. I guess it's I don't know, being a new mod, you're like, okay, I gotta be here all the time. But
Gotta prove myself.
Exactly. But yeah,
I feel like I sometimes don't tell my mods when I'm streaming, because I'm like, I don't know if I'll be able to. It always works around my work schedule. So I'm like, I'm not positive this time will work. So I just don't tell them. I'll be like, I'm not going to make anyone feel like they have to commit to a time in case I'm not going to be able to make this time. So I don't tell. But they always show up. Sometimes at 1 a.m. I'm like, how? I didn't tell you that this is happening. Always there. Too efficient.
Keeoh, I'm curious about that too, right? Where it's like Greg alluded to it earlier. It's like this is kind of the unpaid internship for most folks who are doing this modding work. What's the conversation you're having with the crew? Is like, hey, I've seen you in my chat modding for like 3 days straight. Get off the internet. Are you having like conversations like that, or is it kind of you're kind of doing it by feel to see?
No,
like,
I kind of just steer into it, and I just give him an unpaid internship role in my Discord, and then we just call it a day. So. No, I definitely check in here and there with a lot of the mods, especially some of the people. Big shout out to Squirtle. I don't think he's here in chat right now, but that guy is one of the most dedicated mods I've ever seen. It has helped me out so much. And as soon as I get to the size to the point where I can actually pay my mods, that'd be awesome. But yeah, we've done some pretty cool things. This is a little off topic, off the rails, but one of the biggest goals I set for my community, I set this goal about a year into streaming. And I said, if I could hit 2,000 subscribers on Twitch for 2 months back to back, kind of meaning that like, okay, hey, we made it as like a solidified streamer. Like this is huge versus, you get a bunch of gifted 1 month, it's over.
Sure.
So we hit that 4 or 5 months ago. And the deal was when we got that 2 in a row, I would buy all the mods gaming chairs.
Nice.
Cool.
So that was a big, yeah, that was a big hit to the bank account.
I do pay my mods. Not currently because they've all been doing
applications. Oh,
bad work. No, I pay my mods. Not currently because they're doing really badly. No, it's actually because I'm in Australia. So it won't send me a text to my US number to verify the transactions.
Wow.
So they're on hold for 2 months, which is very stupid. But I feel like I made the decision to do that. And I know that that's an ongoing conversation with a lot of people, is because all of my streams are generally just for charity anyway. I felt like these people were helping me do charity work, and thus I felt like I should pay them. So I do, and I make sure that I do. But what's the approach that everyone has to that? I mean, I'm sure, there are different thought processes. I just didn't want to, knowing these are charity streams, knowing these people are also donating their time to charity to not, and they donate every goddamn charity stream. And I'm always like, you guys don't have to do that. But I'm sure that all the money I give them goes back into the charities every month, every month anyway. So Greg, what was your approach to like how you compensate your mods? What kind of relationships you have with them? Like if you pay them or not?
Sure. I mean, it's evolved over the years. We don't pay our mods. It's evolved over the years, right? And the way we were able to handle it was in the beginning, right? We joined Twitch, on my channel, which was Game Over Greggy, long before there was a Kind of Funny. And so I started the channel to learn what Twitch was, which then you get into the fact that, you can mod people. And so it was that, somebody like Zyger has been around long enough that, okay, cool, here, you can be a mod. And I didn't understand what that was exactly and what that power was. And so over the years, this Kind of Funny's grown and evolved as a business, right? For the longest time, it was in a similar boat of like, you've been around for a long time and, you're asking to help, you're asking to do something, here you go. And on top of that, it was a bit unorganized where we were kind of not letting the chat run wild, because of course the whole point of Kind of Funny is the fact that we don't want assholes in our group. We want it to be the people who are there for the right reason, and if not, we'll ban you, and we don't care, and we don't want your sub, we don't want your view, we don't want anything to do with you. And so we had a great community already. Of course, you get looky-loos who come in when you are on the front page or something happens, or you have a guest of some notoriety. And so it was modding more there, and then eventually the mods being like, hey, we're organizing on our own. And then we try to run all of our communities the same way, which is that they run themselves, where there is no official Kind of Funny community. We had an official Kind of Funny forum for a long time, and it was never one of our passions. It was something we made for the kids who wanted their own space and their own forum. And then it became the forum people being like, well, you're never here. And it was like, oh, you think we're ignoring you, but like, we didn't build this to come here. We're not message board people kind of thing. And so we've let it go that there's an unofficial Kind of Funny Facebook group. There's an unofficial Kind of Funny Reddit. There's, all these different things that we'll pop in and look at, but like they are their own communities that are run, we hope, in the example we've set. And so even to a point, the Twitch mods are a similar thing of that, where we're in the same way of you, Alana, that we're on a regular schedule, but then there are the crazy things that I pop up on, or I do something like this. Right now this is streaming both on Cloud9, twitch.tv/Cloud9, which you should like and subscribe and follow and all that jazz. But it's also over on the Kind of Funny page. And I didn't give our mods a heads up because for the way Kind of Funny runs the business, we look at the official channels as official channels that people come to. And so it is this thing of, I would never feel comfortable going to the mods and being like, hey, it never feel comfortable in the current setup we have of, hey, we're going to be live from this to that. I need who's going to be there, what's going to happen, yada, yada, yada. On the times we've addressed a more intense subject, we'll give them a heads up. They've asked for it. I think they, love to have that. But the problem is that we are still an incredibly small business of 11 people, which does mean all the time that let's do something. All right, cool. And you go, and it's like, I haven't even told Barrett so he could tweet about it, let enough told, somebody who isn't my direct employee to go be a part of it, or, what's happening.
Yeah, struggle with that all the time. How about you, Cod? Do you have an approach
to
your relationship with your mods?
I mean, our mods are really, really sweet and kind about giving us some of their time. I am one of the folks who is like really worrisome about people giving me their time for free. I am always just like, oh please. I would tell people don't mod my channel because I can't pay you.
I'm paying my mods, and I'm like, you guys don't have to show up. You don't have to show up to this.
Yeah, I'm like, please don't do it, because then I feel really bad that people are doing like unpaid labor. I'm like, who am I, Jeff Bezos? I'm like, what's happening? But it's one of those things where I'm just like, I feel really bad. So I tell people like, if you want to do it, I will thank you. I will get you merch. If you want any of that stuff, like I'll hook you up on that. And I have people in my chat right now talking about, we can get paid. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't get paid. But I think it's one of those things of like, I feel bad about that kind of stuff. So I will be like, I will do it myself. But if you really want to spend the time and do it as a way to kind of help out our fairly small channel, I will absolutely take the help and then figure out ways that we can figure out ways to kind of, do something together to get you something that'll be beneficial to you in a way that might not necessarily be money, but will be something that will be cool for you.
Also, some people enjoy it. If you were to say no, they'd be bummed out. Like when I moved over from streaming on YouTube to streaming on Twitch, there were a few YouTube mods who were very upset that they weren't Twitch mods. And I had to be like, I picked my mods based on having people who were frequently in the chat whose names that I recognized, and then I reached out to them. So it was like, I know you, I know that you're a good egg. I've seen how you interact with my community. So if I recognize your name, it means you've been positive enough for a long time, basically. But I mean, Jenna, you mentioned an application process. And I suppose for both of you, Keeoh as well, what do mod applications look like? What do you look for in those kind of things?
Okay, sorry.
Why are you giggling?
The way I got modded in Keeoh's chat is because Squirtle, the mod he mentioned, I think I made a joke. I'm like, maybe you should get more mods. And then Squirtle's like, yeah, we need the help. And I was like, okay. And then kind of just happened.
It's that easy.
I mean,
yeah. Yeah, Squirtle's like my right-hand man in these decisions. So he'll just kind of DM me and be like, hey, like if we need another person, I have these people ready, they're willing to be a mod, and I think they'd be a good fit for this. Huh. And we kind of have like a running list of people that were ready to mod. Like just yesterday, we modded another person because we were just like, and it's not like a planned reveal. It's just like, hey, you go on. It's just like kind of
interesting.
Like, well, so that's kind of how it works a little bit for us. It's a bit chaotic, but it's fun, and we have a really good community, like with our mods specifically. Like I have a separate Discord for just the mods, and a lot of them, I think a lot of them are playing like Valorant right now. Like they get in groups together and have a lot of conversations and hang out, and which just makes the whole environment for the mods and the community and the viewers and all of us just like kind of a well-working machine, if that makes sense. Like every part's kind of flowing together. It's really fun.
It is cool when your mods can be friends. My mods who are watching talk too much to each other. So I had to tell them, I was like, you guys, in this chat that we have, there are too many messages. I have to not read them because you text me more than my friends do. But they are very supportive of each other in a way that I find really sweet. Like one of them got vaccinated yesterday. She's in a country where it's a little bit harder to do. And everyone was like, woo, congrats, how are you feeling? And I like, when I see that stuff, I'm like, this is very nice. So we have our own little mod chat that you guys talk in too much. Very hard to organize streams, Jared. But they are really lovely. Like they're very friendly with one another. And it's nice to foster that community. And I guess, tying it into the theme of this podcast, this is all about mental health. How important do all of you think the mods are for your own mental health and for your well-being as a content creator? Keeoh, why don't you take that first?
Sure. I mean, I don't really know how I could interact with chat if it was just like flying through with a bunch of like sexism and racist slurs and stuff. I'm not sure how I could interact with my community knowing that that's going on at the same time and not just be like, okay, I'm going to ban this person, and like just go through myself.
Stop playing the game and just manage. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that helps me just like kind of, it takes that entire aspect of streaming off my plate, and it helps me out a ton because then I can just focus on making like the best content that's available to me and interacting with the viewers that aren't doing those things and having a good time. And really like my whole goal in streaming is to just create a positive impact and a good space for people that they feel, like, okay, hey, I can go take my mind off of things and just have a good time and relax and watch. And, with all of my mods, it allows me to do that. And that's awesome.
Okay. I was gonna say, I'm curious, Jenna, like, are there things that you're kind of thinking about before you start your moderating kind of like shift, if we're going to call it that, right? Are there like things you're looking to like have an eye out for? If you're, if Keeoh's playing a very specific thing, are you looking for very specific things you're going to see in chat? Or does it feel like there are things that are just the consistent and constant that are just there that we always kind of see that your radar is really high for?
So recently, Keeoh, he put his chat on his screen when he streams, and whenever he does like this little content thing, or he does like he aces or something, it's just hi YouTube, hi YouTube, hi YouTube. So we kind of just block the term and we kind of just delete it, or like I only delete it when like there's nothing happening. Like if he's just just going to a site and there's just hi YouTube, I just delete it. Like all the mods found it kind of annoying. It just kind of fills up chat, and so that's kind of the consistent thing. And then there's just like the common sense ones, or like being like derogatory or racist, that kind of thing, you know, kind of just ban, you know.
I feel like that's a thing that I've toyed with before that I still don't know what to do about is the decision to have chat on screen. Do you feel like that adds extra pressure to, like, especially if you are like clipping things out and putting them on YouTube? Does that add more pressure to everyone, like to you as well, Keeoh, to be like, what if there's something that I miss and now it's on YouTube as well?
For me, it's kind of, we have a really good community and a really good system, honestly. So it will happen every once in a while. That's just going to, but the interaction that we get from it is a lot more beneficial, I think, because a lot of people do like that interaction of seeing their name on you know, the stream or something.
Yeah.
And then going to a YouTube video and then they find their name after a cool clip on YouTube. Like a lot of people enjoy that kind of like back and forth, and it makes them feel more involved in the community. Even if I didn't read or respond to that message, it's like, oh, hey, look, there's me. I'm on the, you know, hey. And so I find there's a lot more benefits to that than there is drawbacks. But Jenna, what are your thoughts here? I'm sure it's added a little more stress.
Yeah, like you said, it does benefit your community because your community knows how to behave because of me, but I'm not.
I love it.
It's a perfect example.
So good.
Okay, but yeah, in Keeoh's instance, yeah, it really makes you feel involved. I had one of my online friends, she watches Keeoh, and she's like, I saw your name on his videos 3 times, and I'm like, oh my god, because I'm always there. But you know, it's sweet to see, and yeah, I think in his sense it does benefit because like if you're watching on YouTube, you can be like, whoa, I could be in a Keeoh video. Let's go to twitch.tv/Keeoh and watch him. Yeah, so yeah.
It's the thing. I mean, if you know, as fast as you guys are deleting it and fostering this community, right? It also then spreads the message that, you know, if you're on point, if you're having a conversation about the clips that are happening, if you're having a conversation about the game or ongoing thing in there, right? You're going to be able to find yourself in the archive rather than a split second of a joke you wanted to make that, you know, didn't play or whatever that you want to go grab the screenshot of. Nobody wants that. You want to be somebody that your friends see your name in the chat and are like, oh my gosh, I saw you again there, and I saw them respond to you, and I saw this conversation you started.
Wait, was that a question?
No, that was just me doubling down on your point, saying that what you guys are doing.
Like agreeing with you. You're being endorsed.
Because there was a pause, and I was like, wait.
Did I miss the question mark? What do I say? I have a question. I mean, if you need a question, I have one for you, Jenna. So many people in the chat keep saying that. Of course, we know Jenna. That's Jenna of Quiznos. Why the Quiznos? Why? As soon as you popped up, everyone started talking about Quiznos, and they continue to do it all the time.
I can see someone in here, Sussy Imposter Panda, also asking for your Pokemon Go friend code because apparently you have a shiny Pikachu.
I have a.
There's a lot going on. I'm very curious about the Jenna lore here.
Yeah.
So there's another streamer called WestJet. For some reason it came up in a conversation, and so he decided to come over in Keeoh's chat and just announce that because my parents own a franchise of it, so I kind of just work there on the side when they need me. It's not my actual job. I have 2 other jobs that I have to deal with.
I need to Google what Quiznos is.
Oh no!
Oh, it's the sandwich shop.
Yeah.
It's like a worse Subway.
No, we can't get into that here. I will.
Her family owns one. It's better than Subway, all right? Quiznos sandwiches are hot. They're toasted all the time. Subway chased that late down the game.
It's true.
I mean, I'm not trying to promote here, but
just as a reference. This is bad because this is a mod appreciation day. Bringing up Quiznos horrible. I joke around with my mods a lot, and they know me. If they've been modded, they understand that I'm a very like kind and welcoming person, and they can come to me for anything. But with that comes this added bonus that they know that about me. Therefore, I can be very sarcastic with them. So there's kind of this back and forth between the mods and me of like we kind of just bully each other a little bit just to make kind of jokes. That's one of the ongoing jokes for Jenna is that she works at Quiznos. So yeah, we appreciate you very much and your Quiznos work, Jenna.
And I bet you make a mean sandwich because that's what Quiznos is. Apparently, I learned today.
Yes. I mean, that was.
I feel like we've just very much overwhelmed you here, Jenna, which is not necessarily good for your mental health, and I apologize. So I want to ask everyone here, you know, in relation to this inaugural moderator appreciation day, which I do think is very cool.
Yeah.
To all of you, I'll start with you, Keeoh. How do you go about making sure you're building a positive, inclusive community for your fans and other streamers while you're streaming?
I mean, I think it's, hopefully leading by example. I think, being able to kind of, be a reasonable, decent human being, and then hopefully garnering those people who come into your stream and knowing what we kind of stand for. That, I think for me, it's a little bit easier because people know from jump what they're going to get as soon as they come in, if they've, followed me on Twitter or any of that other kind of stuff. I do think it is really interesting of how you continue to kind of build that up, though. I think a lot of folks, when you see the channels that they've kind of grown, a lot of times it can get out of hand and you lose a little bit of the ability to kind of rein some stuff in. I think through not only just mod tools and really good banned word lists, and also setting a really good kind of precedent early on. Like, we had a couple moderators who were really quick on the gun early on in our channel, enough so much so that I had to kind of talk to them and say, we don't want to moderate that way. We want people to kind of be able to have the back and forth and have some of that banter, even if it is off color, even if it is a little bit cuss laden, or even if it is a little bit, not in the same way where I don't want to just ban people right off jump. And that's given me the ability to kind of like grow the channel and also have more conversations in a way that I feel is more akin to the way I want to talk to people in real life, which is hard to do on Twitch at all. It's really hard to do that. So, I think that's given our channel a little bit more grace for having those conversations. And I think it has kind of given us a more inclusive space to be able to like talk about the things that we find really interesting and heavy and fun all at the same time. So it's been a long process of getting that to kind of work together in that way.
I also feel like you're selling yourself short there. You openly and actively try to have conversations that a lot of other people aren't having. I think that like you literally are a go-to for that in the games community. Is that you try to talk about things in a very real way with the right people. Like, you're selling yourself short, Khalif. What you do is awesome.
Thank you.
You're wonderful. We're very glad to have you as part of the broad community in general. Like, I think you're fantastic. I made myself tear up talking about how good I think what you do is. I don't know why that's just happened.
Oh, don't
Greg,
you make me cry.
Yeah, move on. We're moving on before it gets too sappy. Greg, I know that like it's a mission statement for you guys. I know that leading up to the election, that was a thing that a lot of people were giving props to Kind of Funny for, is like, here's what we stand for. We're going to talk about it. We're not going to shy away from it because it makes you uncomfortable. Like, how do you make those decisions internally about like, this is what we stand for, this is what we believe is right, and we want our community to be those people who are uplifting as well? That it seems like you guys have it so calculated because you're so cautious and precise and like.
Thank God it looks that way.
It seems really organized and like very like it's like, you know how CEOs have those meetings where they're like, here's the vision, but it seems like you guys organically actually do have that vision. How did that all come about?
I mean, it's you nail it with organic, and I think it is. You talk about us inspiring the community, but it's literally the circle, right, of the community inspiring us, and it was those hard conversations of us thinking the message was as obvious as I made it earlier, right? Of like, if you're an asshole, we don't want you. We said that on day one, like literally in the first 5 minutes of starting Kind of Funny and explaining what we were doing and why we were doing it, and that had always been the thing. But over the years, the mantra kind of got not weaker, but lost. You lost that second half because what it is if you're watching this, you're a Kind of Funny best friend, and then of course the second half was, if you're going to be a jerk, we don't want you here. We don't want your money. We don't want your view. And it got shortened. If you're watching this as your Kind of Funny best friend. So then when things started getting really hot on a number of different topics, and it was like, well, this is how I feel. I'm a Kind of Funny best friend, aren't I? Yada. They're saying horrible things. We're like, well, no, you're not. And so it was that for a while, us thinking the message was clear, and then having our audience be like, it isn't. We understand what it is. We understand. We're here every day. We're doing this. We're modding. We're just on the message boards talking about it. But what your actual mission statement is lost to the broader, newer audience member. And so it was thank you for telling us that, and we need to course correct, and we need to double down on it, right? And I think, even right now, I've seen it go through a few times, is our Nightbot, not even command, right? Our Nightbot automated message now that goes through and talks about what this community is and what we believe in, and what, if you're going to be here, you need to be about, or we don't want you around, right? And even that is an inspiration from when Janet Garcia started on her own and she mentioned she'd put, I was like, that's a great idea. I'm going to write ours. And then I forgot about it. And the mods emailed me and were like, hey, we know you're busy. We also know you really care about this. You need to do this.
But are you also a liar?
Yeah, exactly. I quit. No, they understood the 900 things and plates were spinning every day, but they stayed on me to get the message, to have it go through, to make sure that, what they are spending so much of their time and energy on, the community they're helping us foster, is going to be reflective of what we all want.
I think your community is fantastic too. Like I think even the people that I've met in person who are kind of funny best friends, and also the way that you've hired staff too. Like Joey was just a best friend initially, right?
Yeah.
And then grew in, and she's one of the best people on the planet.
It's one of those, not to speak out of turn, right? But like, you figure everybody but, and this isn't anything against them or whatever, right? But everybody but Kevin and Cool Greg would have been kind of funny best friends. I mean, like, it's in terms of full timers, everybody was somebody who was already listening. It was already part of it. And like, Andy, one of our first hire outside of all of this, really, right? What was
decision you ever made?
I know, right? He's terrible, but we saw him in chat all the time, to the point that I remember going back to some random morning show and getting a random pinpoint to get a clip, and we were talking about a video or a thing he just drew. I was like, oh my god, like that's crazy, but that's how it is, right?
It makes sense, because then everyone that you hire also already knows that mission statement and carries it forward as well. And I think that is awesome. And it's to have a company where I feel like a lot of other people in the games community are like, oh, this is what Kind of Funny stands for. Like, it's just so easy to know that. It means you've shared it incredibly well. To jump over to you, Keeoh, your situation is very different, because you are playing games and playing them real well. And that kind of competition can lead to a lot of toxicity. But both of you are talking about your community being really positive. So, for the three of us, it's a lot more like we talk with our chats and we do podcasts and we like have talk shows all the time. That seems like it's like, I get how that's happened. How do you approach it when most of what you're doing is gameplay that can be really intense, but you still have these really positive communities? How have you done that?
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of said my mission statement a little bit before, is to just kind of cultivate a positive community where people can go and not worry about everything else, and at the same way, a very open-minded community. One of you guys touched on this a little bit, of like having certain moderation where it's like, okay, well, they can go off the rails a little bit, but there's a line where you don't cross, and we kind of hit that super hard. Honestly, there's not really anything that's crazy off topic, but there's a lot of things I'm just not going to talk about, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So we try to, I just know how divisive this world is right now, and there's a lot of things that's going to cause division. And then also, if that division happens, it's going to create an echo chamber in my stream of just the people who believe the same things that I believe in. And I don't want to do that. I'd like to keep that open to just everyone that rolls into the stream. So for me personally, I don't swear on stream. So this creates a lot of like, people think I'm family friendly all the time, but I'm not. I just don't swear personally. So we'll talk about some pretty, intense stuff, but I'm just not going to personally swear. But I'm not going to subject like the music I listen to or the teammates that I'm playing with to that same standard, or even the chat to that same standard. So people often swear in chat, and it's not like, oh wow, hey, this guy's swearing, ban him, like get him out of here. It's to create an environment that's like, okay, hey, if whatever you want to do in your life, we're here for it, and we're going to support you. And that's like the interaction we have. So there's a lot of things that I don't talk about, like politics and religion, because I'm not as educated as a lot of other people. I play video games. I eat crayons. I don't know what I'm talking about. So I figured that the best thing that I can do in that situation, where I know that I'm not as, smart in, I can just create a community where we're going to love everyone. And I don't think we can go wrong doing that.
But how have you done that? That's the tough part. It's like you talk about, people come here, we try to make sure they have a good time. How? It's not that easy.
I mean, I don't know. I think that one of the biggest things that I do in online ranked is just because you play with a lot of random people all the time, is you never know where somebody's coming from in life. And there's a lot of toxicity in that. And so somebody, they might be just have gotten off the worst day, just got fired from their job, and are like, okay, I'm going to hop on Valorant, just blow some steam off. And they're probably not going to play very well, because they're, just their mind's completely elsewhere. They're trying to get their mind off of what they're doing.
They're tilted.
Yeah, sure. But I'm never the person to be like, hey man, screw you. What are you doing playing horrible? Like, oh, practice before you get in ranked. Like, I'm always the person that's like, hey, let's just don't worry about it, guys. Let's have fun and just enjoy it. And we're, it'll balance out eventually. And that's kind of a hard mindset to be in while being at the top level of the game. So some people don't appreciate that, but for me, I really enjoy that interaction because we get to set an example for the community of like, hey, this is how we're going to treat everyone, even if they're having a bad day. Like we're going to show up and we're going to be that person that's like, hey, you can come to me and you're going to have a good time. And that's the goal. And that's kind of an interaction in the way that I've led by an example, just by treating my ranked teammates. I think that's how the chat has cultivated such a positive vibe to it.
That's a very good point. I feel like the amount that I swear at all video games and myself while playing them, I should maybe reassess that. I feel like if I'm doing badly in a game, I just like call myself so many horrific names. I don't do it to other people though.
It makes it a commodity when you don't curse, because then when you do, it has like this so much weight.
It has weight. Yeah.
Somebody's like, he just swore.
I'll say something that's like borderline, and like that's not even a curse word, and people be like, Keeoh swore. Do you hear that?
That's how it was for us with Snowbike Mike. Yeah, Snowbike Mike didn't swear for the longest time, and so then when he started it with Kind of Funny as a full-time employee, yeah, he cursed on some stream, and the chat went nuts. They really couldn't believe their eyes. It was like Ted Lasso out there cursing.
Yeah, I freaked out.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jenna, what's your approach for making sure that, we understand that your mod approach is, I mean, you just deserve so many props by the sounds of things, but when you're actually engaging with the chat as a mod, what are you thinking about to make sure that everybody's having a good time and that things are positive?
I mean, when they come in, it's usually because like the streamer reflects the audience. So, Keeoh's just a little happy little sunshine, So like usually chat's not really a problem, but like to make more engagement, I try to just, like if someone says like a comment, I kind of piggyback off of it. Like people feel appreciated when they get their comment, like read by Keeoh, or, just having a little conversation with other people. Cause we usually have like little conversations or like debates. Like I don't know if this is weird, but like, oh no, I'm not gonna say that. I'll say like today.
I'm so
you
curious.
Moderated yourself.
Yeah, you
just modding yourself.
You modded yourself.
Lies.
So today in Keeoh's chat, we're talking about the way. So I'm from the Midwest, so I call soda pop.
Pop. Yeah.
And so I'm like, that's the correct way. But then other people are like, oh, it's soda. So then like people, put their own input, and then we like make little polls and like,
it's
these are the type of the controversial discussions that we're having.
Okay, that's not controversial. But, I was gonna bring another thing, but we'll just leave that in Keeoh's chat.
That's how spicy it gets for you guys. I understand. So I'm this has been very lighthearted, but I did want to ask you all a question that I think is pretty serious, and I don't know exactly what you're supposed to do about this. If somebody comes into your chat and is talking about mental health, or is talking about having a bad day, or is talking about needing help, how do you address that? Greg, do you want to take that one?
Sure. I think again, we're talking about mods on mod appreciation, right? And I think that they go so far in this context where it is that thing of you as the entertainer, as the performer, you're reading the news on our channel, or you're playing a game and you're not necessarily looking at it. And so I would say every time, if not 9 times out of 10, I've seen something like that go through our chat. It is not only the mods responding, it's other Kind of Funny best friends responding and being like, oh, hey, if you need help, whisper me, do this, do that. On the subreddit, I see it a lot. And that's because I frequent the subreddit. I don't use Facebook or something like that. But I see it all the time of people putting up the posts of, hey, I'm struggling, and our community rallying around them and getting into their PMs, wanting to talk to them, and they're in the chat and doing something to that effect. I think it was something we were talking about earlier on, and I didn't include it in my thing, but Khalif said, lead by example. And then Alana, you gave me a lot of praise for our community, but I think part of our community and part of this whole thing is not being afraid to address those issues head on. I think so many people, when they do want to bring up something in chat that is touchy or controversial isn't the right word, but something that's uncomfortable, there's that move of, oh, well, ignore it and move on to the next comment, or do this and do that. Whereas we are very much about, if it scrolls through, and it's not trolling, it's not you trying just to thumb us in the eye about something, that, and it's also the proper place, right? It's not the middle of a games daily. It is us streaming for 3 hours and shooting the shit, right? Then you bring that comment in and you actually have a conversation about it. And that is the example again of like, which can just be of, hey, this person's saying this, they're clearly trying to hurt me. We don't do that here. So you're banned. And that's how it'll be for everybody else that wants to go this way with it. Like, I think that's such a crucial part of it. And so for mental health, it's the same thing of, I've been shocked since we started doing this show, The Presence of Mind, how many times on other shows, interviews, podcast, I'll bring up findyourwords.org and be like,
Yeah.
hey, if you do need help, there's this website and it is this mental health resource, and it's a toolbox that is there for you if you're hurting, but it's also there if you have friends who are hurting or want to be in another stream chat eventually and have this conversation, you want to know something to say, you can go there and find information.
It's true. That's a good plug, but it's also genuine.
Which is
Keeoh, have
thing
you,
about
have
being
you dealt
Greg
with,
Miller.
Keeoh, have you dealt with any of this kind of thing where someone from your community has come to you and asked for help with something mental health related? And if so, like, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, so that's definitely a difficult subject to kind of
Sure.
jump into. When I've grown to this size, there was definitely a time in my stream where it was like, okay, hey, I know who this person is talking in chat, and I'm like, hey, let's address this right now, and just be like, hey, if you ever like, here are the resources, this is what we're doing, and really, really help somebody go through that and figure out a game plan for what they need to do to move on from what they're going through, But as I've grown, it's very like hard to just be like, okay, hey, I because there are comments I'll see where somebody's, going through something really rough. And it's hard for me inside because I want to be like, oh, hey, here's this response. But it also kind of changes the entire direction of the stream and the vibe of the stream. If we're having this super happy, upbeat time playing games, to dive in to be like, hey, man, depression is real and it sucks, So that's like some really stark shifts. So that's one of the things that a lot of our mods deal with. And we have kind of a little bit of a protocol when somebody does reach out of the chat. We message them individually and make sure that they understand the resources that are available in front of them and that there are people that are willing to talk to them. Hansel said that she does that a decent amount, and it's really is helpful. And a lot of people don't understand how that could, change somebody's life in a moment of need where they're just like, okay, hey, I don't know what to do. And for me to stop my stream, if I have 1,000 people watching me to help one person, that's a great thing to do, but it's also really hard for me to continue making content if I'm doing that all the time. So that's a thing where I've kind of had to take the sidelines for that and say, hey, mods, like, I need you guys to take care of this because I can't perpetuously do this over and over again.
Yeah, it's also that if you were to stop to do that every time, then people would stop watching as much probably, and it would be hard to even help those people. I think your approach there makes perfect sense. That's awesome. So Jenna, do you have any experience dealing with this kind of stuff?
I feel like I have, but not with Keeoh. I don't remember. But yeah, I have reached out to people. Like if they say something kind of like concerning, I would whisper to them, be like, "Are you okay? Do you want to talk?" Like stuff like that. But yeah, Keeoh has Hansel, so she's kind of holding the weight here. But yeah, if there was someone that needed help, I would reach out or check up on them.
That's awesome. How about you, Keeoh? How do you approach this kind of thing?
I mean, I'm super weird in that way where I still have my DMs open on Twitter like a monster.
What's wrong with you?
I know. I still have my DMs open. Like my whispers aren't shut off on Twitch.
You can shut whispers off?
Yeah, you can make it so that you can't get people to whisper to you. Yeah, for sure.
It's fantastic.
It is
One
amazing.
guy keeps sending me very explicit messages, and I don't know how to get rid of them.
Oh yeah, well, filed under things you learn when you're on the front page of Twitch is you can turn your whispers off because people send you really awesome stuff. But it's that part of the deal of like, for me, I have a belief or a practice where for our channel there are no taboos. So like you can hit me with anything and I will try to figure out ways to, again, give you resources. If there is actual time, like take the time after the stream to like hit you up and say, hey, if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. And it's been nice to be able to feel like we're still having that connection where with our chat and with our community that we can still do those things. Because I don't have a Discord. That is one of the things that I have not gone back and done. We shut our Discord down a while ago because that was a place where not only it didn't feel necessarily comfortable to have those conversations there, but it also felt really disconnected, and there's an expectation there for people to always be on, which I'm not always on. So resources, find your words, and then also giving people space to like be able to reach out. And the interesting part about that actually really quickly has been people have not taken advantage of that, at least with me, because of the openness in the streams. and the openness with the podcasts and the shows, where I'm really forthcoming with my feelings about some stuff that people don't necessarily share. So we're already kind of in that space to be able to kind of, have some of those same feelings kind of just out there in the world. So that's been really helpful for me to feel like people can come to me and talk about those things in an open way, and also feel like they've been given spaces to kind of emote in the ways that they can and want to in other ways too.
And even hear other people talk about it, like we are right now, can comfort people, make them feel more open talking about it. I feel like I always struggle with if people come to me for mental health advice, because I know that the solution is different for everyone. So I always just get in my head of like, what if I give you the wrong advice?
Right.
Please talk to a professional. I don't know what to do. My biggest things as someone who did have depression and currently does not, is that exercise and diet really helped me. Obviously that there are a lot of other things that you need to do to get through that kind of thing, but they helped me so much. Working out helped me so much to get out of that rut of like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to go anywhere. My life is this crappy, foggy haze. So that's what I always try to recommend, but it doesn't apply to everyone. So it's really scary to give that kind of advice. So I do think that findyourwords.org is a really good idea. But related to that, we do have an interactive video. It is out now on findyourwords.org/presence of mind, hosted by me. And completing the video will earn you a 10% discount to the Cloud9 store and a chance to win one of 5 C9 HyperX accessory bundles, including a keyboard, mouse, and mouse pad. You can enter the giveaway up to 2 times, but regardless, I think the chatbot on the Cloud9 Twitch has a link to it. I would highly recommend watching through it. Even if you don't feel like your mental health is terrible, it can always be just a good idea to check in with yourself every now and then. And I really do think using the professional resources is a better idea than coming to me and potentially getting bad advice. Sometimes people ask for help with anxiety, and I do not have anxiety. And I'm like, I hear books help. Have you tried letting it go? And I'm like, no, that's not going to work. I can't tell someone with anxiety that. Like, I just don't ever know how to do it. So there are resources available to help. And then part 2 of the Presence of Mind interactive video as well, with the series, gets to the root of supporting friends, family, and others in your community who may be struggling. So I recommend checking that out too. It's definitely a very, very good resource and better than any piece of advice that I feel like I can ever provide. So as we wrap up this conversation today, I did want to give everybody the opportunity, just like we saw in the video at the start of the stream, give a message to all the mods out there. Keeoh, you just act like Jenna's not here. She's not here right now. You just close your eyes. Okay. What would you have to say to the people who help you out by moderating?
Wow. I mean, thank you. Obviously, that's like just a given. Everything that my mods do and the community that they've built within the mods themselves is so helpful and so amazing. And I love every one of them so much. And it's really cool because we have this just awesome, I really can't describe it. It's really a community like no other. We have this really tight core group of mods and me, like all in this big kind of like inner circle group. And then we're all have this broader goal of spreading positivity throughout everyone else that enters the stream and, sees us for a couple seconds. So that's been really cool. And I'm super thankful that you guys share that same vision with us, with me. And I want to keep going with it. It's awesome. So thank you guys for supporting me and pushing through it. And I know it's a little tough sometimes, but I really appreciate everything that you guys do for me. If you ever need anything, I'm always here for you guys. So
very good.
Nice.
Greg, how about you?
I mean, everything you just said, right? Like mods make Twitch a better place. They make YouTube a better place. They make anywhere you're moderating something, you are making it a better place and building the community you want to see. So, of course, yes, thank you for all of your work, for Kind of Funny Mods in particular, of course. Thank you for making what we do better, making the experience better in a way that what I find so cool about mods, right, is that they know the product in a way I never will. Like I can never consume what we're doing without making it, without worrying about like the actual production of the show. Whereas a mod has come from the community, they've come from the chat. They understand what a chat user, what somebody who's watching this as a viewer, what they want out of the experience, and they're able to deliver it in a way that the people who are making it never truly can. So thank you.
Carl, how about you?
For all my mods, I have to say, you do something that I didn't know was so necessary as a person who hosts and produces the stream at the same time by myself. You're like my third hand in the way that we're all kind of getting things together and done. It is so much nicer to be able to take that one thing off my plate every show that we do, to be able to get all the attention and focus on our guest or the topic or the conversation, especially when I'm coming in hot a lot of times, to starting the show. You're invaluable, and I love you all, and I'm not paying you, but I will find a way to get you some cool shirts at some point. We'll figure that part out for sure at some point.
To mine, you guys are all right.
And you talk too much.
Too many messages in the Twitter DMs. No, my mods are wonderful, and I think the thing that really helps me about them is knowing that when you're starting a stream, you automatically have people in your corner. Is such a nice feeling. You know, like the internet can be a big, bad, mean place, and knowing that there are these people whose names I know, who I can joke with, who know the kind of sense of humor that I have, who will banter back at me, who are always there, is like, no matter what, there are friends here. There are people here who are bringing positive vibes and helping me do that in the chat. And my mods are also really chatty. Like, they talk a lot to everyone, and like, if I miss a sub, they thank people for subs. Like, it's like just having friends help, and it makes even starting the stream a lot less daunting, because there totally are messages that I won't even have seen, that I'll like catch a small glimpse of them talking about afterwards, and I'll be like, I didn't see it. You guys did a great job. I had no idea that this person said any of this. Absolutely nailed it. So it's just the layer of comfort and security that's provided by that is something that makes me more comfortable streaming just in general. So I am hugely appreciative of all the mods out there. And I guess our last question, Jenna, as our resident moderator here, the spokesperson for all mods, Lord Moderator, what's your favorite thing about being a mod?
The sword. Just one extra badge. Cool. No, I guess, I don't know, getting to know the streamer. It's like, oh, guys, you know, I know C9 Keeoh, just gonna say, or like, you know, like even with other people, or just, I don't know, being able to be more involved in a community, it helps a lot. Like I've met so many different people from many different streams that I'm on for, and they're just so supportive. Like you just see a friend everywhere. Like I'm in the Valorant community, like I'm like, I don't want to call myself that, but like when people see me, they're like, wait, you mod over there? I'm like, yeah, I do. Or like, you mod these people? I'm like, yeah, I do. So it's
the Cloud9 chat seems to love you. And that, I mean, it's cool if you've like built yourself your own kind of fandom here, is what it seems like, based on being a mod. I didn't know that could be possible.
I didn't know either, but yeah, I'm in the Valorant community. They're like, wait, you mod for this guy? And it's like, you want to be my mod? And I'm like, I'd say no.
Okay, so the selfless thing, we need to work on this. You do need to say no. Stop waking up before AM streams. Go to school.
I'll figure that soon. Yeah, no, school's important.
It's summer. It's summer right now.
School.
We're good.
Okay, don't go to school. Yeah, you can mod 24/7. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Alrighty. Before we head out today, I did want to let everybody know about the COVID-19 under 30 vaccine initiative. More than 160 million people in the US have received at least their first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, which is amazing. The vaccines that are available are safe, effective, and life-saving. If you're age 12 or older and you haven't been vaccinated just yet, you can text your zip code to 438829 to find a free vaccine near you. And let me tell you, I'm in Australia right now. Half of my family has had one shot of their vaccine. It's so much harder in Australia to even get them at all. So I'm like just so surprised and amazed by America's rollout and Kaiser Permanente's rollout, and the fact that it's free and readily available is just so awesome. Most locations, or many locations, you don't need an appointment. You can get a free ride there and back with Lyft or Uber. They make it as accessible as possible. So please do check it out. Get vaccinated as soon as possible so we can put this pandemic behind us. No more people in hospitals. We can go back to walking around without masks in the sun and having a great time. It'll be great for everybody's mental health. We just have to band together and get it done. So please do get vaccinated. It's so easy to do. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for joining us for another episode of Presence of Mind. Thank you, Keeoh and Jenny. You guys have been wonderful. I hope you've had fun. And thank you to all the moderators out there for all the hard work that you do to make the platform a better place.
Shout out all the mods in chat.
Yes, to all the mods who are present today. We love you, except for you, Jeff. Not you, Jeff.
I love you, Jeff.
Poor Jeff.
I
Get
got
out of
you,
here, Jeff. I constantly make this
Can I-
joke where if they say anything I don't like, I fire them. Like, okay, fine. That's it. You're
Oh
done.
yeah, I promote them to viewer.
Ah, that's great.
That's very
That's
good.
great.
All right, I'm Alana Pierce. That's. I need to check. That's Khalif. I hope I do this
Other-
right.
Other-
That's Khalif.
That's
And that's Greg.
Hey.
And then that's Keeoh. All around me, wonderful people. Thank you for watching, everybody. We will see you all next time.